Okay. All right. So for this I'm supposed to look at the camera. Hi. My name is Stephen Bollich, and this is a YouTube video. Okay. I actually have like a legitimate, more or less planned topic for today, and that is the intersection of schooling, wage slavery, and public relations. I'll start off by saying, as far as like the concept I'm working with here, I actually feel like mass incarceration. Okay, look at the camera. All right, that mass incarceration would actually probably be like a better if I'm doing just three, or like doing it as the third one and doing public relations the fourth one. But I'm going to do a whole hour on just mass incarceration because, whew, okay. I even have, okay, so I'm gonna hold this up and notice that it's facing the right direction. And I didn't realize I had to like, should I put it closer? Schooling. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say that. Oh, it's okay. So this is when I write it regular, it does this on the screen, and when I do this, so what I was trying to figure out was like, am I the only person who didn't know that, or like, is my never mind. I'm not gonna try. What I will do. I'm not looking at the camera. What I will say is that what will I say? Oh, okay. If you haven't seen radio, not seen. If you haven't listened to Radio Lab before, Radio Lab, one word, RADIOLAB. It was a WNYC show. That means New York PBS. No, it means New York NPR. For those of you who don't know that. Anyway, they did this. They did a like a podcast or episode. I think it was like a short episode, but I don't need to tell you the whole format of their show. Anyway, oh, it's called Desperately Seeking Symmetry, and it's so interesting. And it's so funny to me. Like, look up chirality. I think it's spelled CHIRALITY, but it's fascinating. I won't tell you anymore. You can look it up. Desperately Seeking Symmetry. It's a really great thing to listen to. Okay. So this is like mirror on my end, but when I hold it up, it's not mirror anymore. So science. Okay, I'm not gonna hold anything else up. I'm gonna talk about schooling. So first off, I will recommend. Oh my god. Okay. First, I will recommend Ivan Illich. Ivan Illich's Deschooling Society. I believe it was published 1971. And as I'm saying that, I want to differentiate the Ivan Illich who wrote about schooling and probably other anarchist stuff versus Ivan Illich, who I think was a protagonist in, I want to say Tolstoy. And I'm not going to guess beyond that because I don't need to get it wrong more than once. I'm just going to guess Tolstoy. And I'll like correct that next time if oh, right, if I'm wrong. Oh, which makes me think I'm gonna do corrections right now. The first correction I want to do is in my first video, I used the term slave owner to describe the history, I mean, the history of slavery, but specifically Um, my identity, like that I didn't choose, I was born with it. And as you also, I would love to share this, guys. Regardless of your like race, class, gender, size, color, whatever, you didn't choose that. I mean, I don't think so. I don't think you chose it. Like, I know that there's like this belief that there's like a pre-existence, and like maybe you like are here because you have like a higher actual self who's maybe like existing in the fourth dimension or something. And I don't know, like maybe Buddhism. I don't know, like some religions say that like somehow we chose to be here at this time and in this body and whatever. But let's just assume that's not true because we have no way of proving it. And instead, I will say, like, all of the nationalisms and racisms and gender discrimination and all the other, they're all really stupid. And do you know why they're really stupid? Is because there is nothing unique about your demographics. Like, based on most of your demographic categories, there are millions of other people who fit those demographics. And there are people who have different demographics. And it's completely arbitrary. You are just a consciousness in a vessel. So yeah, I don't see why that doesn't just like end all of it, right? Like, why doesn't that just end all the bullshit discrimination? It's because capitalism, those who control capitalism, also known as the capitalists, they want us to be divided, and so they make up bullshit for us to fight about. Okay, that was one. Oh, I didn't even actually offer the correction. So I was gonna say that the word slave owner is using fucking colonial language. It's using white supremacist language. It is saying that there is the possibility of owning a human being. That's not possible. No one owns any human beings. Okay, it's a little bit semantic, but what I'll say is there were slave masters who kidnapped and held captive what we've called slaves in us, and I'm thinking specifically in terms of American slavery and the way it's described, like specifically, I guess chattel slavery is like the specific term for the okay, my head's hot right now. Okay, I was supposed to be talking about other stuff. It all fits together. It all fits together. I mean, it's all about like egalitarianism, anti-racism, anti-capitalism. It's all those things. I think I said enough. I could correct other things. Okay, also Occupy didn't start till 2011. I don't know what I was thinking of. Like I really don't know what I was thinking of. So like I said that the tail end of Occupy was 2011. That's when it started. I don't know when it ended. It'd be great if we could like just keep doing that or something else that, you know, where we were doing things in the physical world instead of in the make-believe one. It's on your phone. It's not real. Okay. Schooling. Okay. Schooling. I'm reintroducing it in case you forgot. So basically schooling is bullshit. Okay. Let me first define schooling. Oh, God. It's so bad. Okay, you know what? No, I'm going to start with this. Children in our country are sleep deprived and malnourished and overwhelmed and stressed out. And do you know why? For no good fucking reason. Why do we get kids up at 6 in the morning before the sun is up so they can go sit in a desk all day in a fluorescently lit room that probably doesn't even have windows? Like, how is that the choice? Why would parents choose that? Oh, wait, they don't. It's illegal not to buy into the fucking prison system for children. It is illegal. It is illegal. Remember I was talking about the whole Martian anthropologist thing? Yeah. Hey, greetings, Earthlings. You got a fucked up planet, and you've got a really fucked up country over there in the, I would say Western Hemisphere, but East and West are totally arbitrary, right? Isn't East and West determined by like fucking Greenwich Village? Not Greenwich Village. Greenwich in England. Because that's like, there's like, isn't like the GMT like at 0 because, yay, British. Okay, so schooling. So honestly, I don't even know why I need to say anything more about this. Like, don't put kids in prison. Don't like constantly antagonize them. Also, why do we have grades, right? Why do we rank these children? Like, we act like we're supposed to be concerned about their self-esteem, and then we find ways to tell them that they're not as good as other people, right? Because here's the thing. Someone has to be in the bottom half, right? Someone has to be in the bottom 25%. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with them or they're a bad person. It means they're a human being in a system that ranks them, right? So, obviously, and I mean, like, I remember when I was, like, in high school, there was this, like, because I was, like, in, the honors, AP, whatever stuff, and, like, I remember there was this, like, bar, like, this unspoken bar, where it was, like, if you were not in the top 10%, and this is in that environment, right? Like, I don't know what, honestly, I did not take very many general ed classes. Like, they really separate that population, right? And the way I describe it is, I have this great analysis of standardized testing, and I'll just jump into that right now. And that is this. Basically, we have a system that ranks children, it scores them, grades them, based on their ability to take a pencil and take a page of little oval circle things, and then the people who are the best at knowing which oval to put their pencil in, that means they're the best and the smartest. That's how we measure talent, is based on the ability to fill ovals with pencil marks. Like, who cares? Who cares what you scored on whatever? If you need to keep repeating it, it means you're insecure about your intelligence, which is fine. I get it. I mean, I have spent my entire life being insecure, but first off, it's something to overcome. It's something to overcome and to stop worrying so much about being graded by other people, by being graded by society. Oh, it makes me think about like I have a couple of other analogies, like, like the Robert Frost poem about the road less traveled, right? First off, they want everybody on the same road going at the same pace. I mean, it's like, guys, let's take the road less traveled. Okay, now we're going to PE. Remember to walk exactly 2 feet away from the wall in a completely straight line. Be completely silent. Stand up straight. Blah, 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 right? The road less traveled, really? And like the hilarious thing to me was like, what was the way I was thinking about it? It was like, oh God, what am I trying to say? School, regimented, basically prison, military, child torture, abuse is what the school system is. It's an awful piece of shit. What else about it though? Also, kids, drop out as early as you can. You got to be strategic about it, because our society does not like it when you do that. They do not like individual freedom. So I might, you know what I'll do? I'll do a whole video on like how to gracefully drop out of school, and we'll upset people with that. Okay, kids. All right. I think I might move on because I forgot what my other points were. The Robert Frost thing with the the diverging path. So first off, they don't really want you to do that. It's part of that whole thing where it's like, use critical thinking, but we're not really. What are they talking about? I mean, I know that it's always like we want to teach critical thinking. First off, you don't teach critical thinking. People are naturally curious. Oh, it's just more Orwellian language. I mean, of course it's just Orwellian language. What was I thinking? Obviously, there's no critical thinking. And then also the whole, like, you know, the paths. So what I love about it, we're telling all the kids to take the path less traveled, right? Let's send all of you on the path less traveled, right? Because, you know, we should all be on the path less traveled. You know what? Let's all go down that path less traveled together. And if you don't appreciate the irony of that, then I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. You can use another analogy that would fit, and that is, so for example, like let's say for example, like, oh, there's this like new restaurant that's really popular. And so you're like, which restaurant should we go to? And it's like, you know what? We could try that one place. And like, oh, no, I don't think anyone goes there anymore. It's too crowded. Why do you want to go there? It's too crowded. Nobody wants to go there. Right? No, that's not how things work. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next topic. Wage slavery. Okay, and those fit together beautifully because the purpose of school is largely to, I mean, if you're still in school, like, newsflash, for everybody else, I really hope you already figured this out. School is designed to groom you to become a slave to the capitalist system. It's called wage slavery. It's where, you know, like they, you know, withhold resources from you. They're privatized, which means like that one little group of people that have, what is it, 10 digits? Their net worth, 10, 11, 12 digits or whatever. You know, while people around the world are starving, etc. So we hand over everything to these people. Oh my God. It's like, it's man, I want to talk about intergenerational tyranny also, but that doesn't fit as well. We'll do that later. Okay. I'm going to have to do multiple videos today, I think, because there's too much. I already held up the wage slavery sign. I guess here's the thing about talking about all of these things is that, like, there is definitely doublethink to some extent here, right? It's like when you are forced to go somewhere and do what another person tells you to do, and you have to do it for a minimum of, I mean, I'm not going to try to go into like what full-time hours are versus whatever, but like, and then you look at like the way that healthcare is tied to employment. That's not an accident. It's not an accident that your like livelihood and your fucking life is dependent on going to a place of business and being offered like rote menial tasks. Oh my God. And I could really talk about Ludditism and the Gilded Age and all of that because, oh my God. Like, I mean, since then, man, like that's the thing about Marx that gets me is that, and I guess I feel like to some extent in his later life, he kind of caught on, but like, I feel like he just had such a positive attitude about things when it came to like the workers' struggle. And I don't think he connected enough. Like, he had this idea. There's something called the general intellect of Karl Marx that I really want to talk about too. Okay, I'm going to finish up the things I said I was going to talk about, and then I'm just going to go off on some other stuff. So that's enough Marx for now. Let's talk about wage slavery instead. The joke is that like Karl Marx, wage slavery, proletariats are wage slaves. Industrialism, this idea, okay, I don't know actually what this idea is called, but it's really interesting also. But this idea that as machines came to replace humans, basically it immediately de-skilled humans because you don't need skills to push a button. So, yeah. And okay. So I can't remember if it's Charles Babbage or Karl Marx who said this. But apparently they have like so many. It's so interesting, like to look at the parallels and the commonalities and overlap between those two. It's so interesting. Anyway, regardless, like this is the phenomenon that occurred once we entered industrialism, and that was that essentially the skills that humans had built up over the years, over the generations, over people's individual lifetimes, we said those skills don't matter anymore. We took all of your skills and we built this machine, and we took your skills and we put them in this machine and we shut it off. And you can't see inside the machine, but it has all of those skills that you had, in the box, the machine. And you know where else that is happening? There's like some of these machines are like a lot smaller. They're like usually like rectangles. I'm trying to like rectangles, something like that. Maybe that way. And that's where your brain went entirely at this point. So it's just been a steady progression to the point that now humans aren't real anymore. Like I'm going to go with that whole locust shell thing. It's like little, locusts watching YouTube or something. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next thing. Oh, okay, this is going to be a whole quote unquote show or episode or standalone video at some point. Because it never occurred to me until I saw the documentaries. Well, okay, so I'd already seen Manufacturing Consent, and so I was like, oh, the media lie, and etc., government, business, connected, all of that, media consolidation, like, it's doublethink, right? Like, we know this is going on, we just don't talk about it. Were we afraid? Like, what is it? I don't know who the Google people are, but like, I don't know, Jeff Bezos is going to get upset with you, or Elon Musk, or Mark, like, I don't know. So there's a documentary called Century of the Self. I was talking about Manufacturing Consent, which is great. Actually, I've developed like this whole, like, I mean, it's basically a curriculum based on a variety of different documentaries that are mostly about media manipulation. In fact, that's also what the book I'm writing is about. I could talk about media manipulation all day. And I think on some level, that's what this is. I mean, because this is media. I feel like people don't understand that. Like, a piece of paper is media. A book is media. Like, media is just information. It's a format for information is what media is. Media are. It's what a medium is. Medium is the singular form. Media is plural. Okay? Why are these not the things you're being taught in school? You didn't know that one, did you? Okay. I'm not going to guess what percentage did or did not. Regardless, anything you don't know, I don't want to say anything you don't know is not your fault. But it's very difficult to... It's difficult. I mean, because, okay, so I think part of what helped me sort of, like, I guess come to terms with reality was that I went through this period when I was, like, early in college. I think it, like, peaked when I was about 19 and lasted, like, let's say it was basically, like, 2003 or 2004 through 2006. I was like totally on the Alex Jones wagon. Uh, yeah, I was like completely bought into that worldview. And so I think that having like been part of a political cult and then leaving a political cult, like you understand cultism better, like a lot better. Like I don't think no, I'll say this because I think everyone does not understand their own psychology. Oh, I don't want to say that. I'm doing a whole thing on modern psychology and psychiatry also. Okay, I'm doing a thing on modern psychology and modern psychiatry also. I'm worried my voice isn't strong enough. So I took I did not find my headset with the thingies and the that thing. Uh I did find oh. So I found at the grocery store like one of the little earbud things. And first off, like I can't do earbuds. Like it is like the most uncomfortable thing in the world. Also, like this is the microphone. It is not as good as that microphone, even if I talk into it right here. Like the little microphone on the computer, where I don't actually know where it is. Uh, it's actually better than that thing. So that's why I'm still doing it this way. Also, the audio was not as bad as I thought it was on the first one. It turns out my speakers suck. So that's why I couldn't hear my own voice. Okay, what was I talking about? Okay, I guess I talked a little bit. No, I'm not. I guess I need to define public relations. So, actually, I can define public relations pretty briefly. Public relations is lying. And that's what public relations is. Okay, just kidding. I mean, not kidding at all, but I'll explain. Do I need to explain? Okay, not only do public relations dominate, like, advertising spaces, that's basically what they are, is opportunities for corporations to lie. Uh, in the 1980s and 90s was when there started to be more of a move toward like politicians using the same techniques of the corporate public relations world for campaigns. So that now like campaigns are just products. Like they aren't like really like people who have like does anyone think that those people are any smarter than they are? Do you think that those people on TV are any smarter than you, or they know any more than you? Oh man. Okay. Right. So I like what's the point? What are we doing here? Like what is any of this? I'm going to go back to what I was saying about are my eyes visible here? Okay. You're on your phone all day, aren't you? You are on your phone all day. Everyone is on their phone all day. It's an addiction. It's such an addiction that we don't call it an addiction. That's how pervasive it is. Remember when like video game addiction used to be a thing, and now like it's like a primary form of employment now? Is like people streaming on Twitch. Like, I don't have the figures. I mean, I have some numbers, but I think they're probably wrong. So I'll actually look this up later. But a disturbing percentage of people are making their money as quote unquote quote influencers now. And oh, I haven't talked about this yet. Oh yeah. It's just like I had this realization that there are certain terms and phrases that just on their own, like for example, wage slavery. fantastic term because it takes two things that people consider like opposites, and when you put them together, you're showing, oh, actually they're the same thing, right? For example, the school to prison pipeline. It's not really a school to prison pipeline. It's more of a this prison to that prison or that prison pipeline. A pipeline of prisons, the prison being the school, the prison being, employment, the whole corporate world. And then public relations, basically like imprisoning your mind and your environment is all curated. So really, something's very important to note is it's all still out there, right? For now, the collective knowledge of humanity is still out there. I don't know how long it's gonna last. You guys realize like they digitized everything so they can get rid of it? You don't need to ban the books if there are no books. You don't need to burn the books if there are no books. Seriously, guys, come on. Really? Come on. Like, okay? Like, do you not see? Okay, I'm gonna do what I did. Hold on, I'm gonna drink some water. And then I'm gonna do what I did last time, which is refer to my notes, because otherwise I don't know where I'll end up. But I will say that, like, that schooling, wage slavery, public relations will inevitably fit into everything else I'm talking about because they fit into everything. I mean, just the phone that is around, the edges of the phone around me, or just the window, like, we're all inside that. Like, I'm inside it right now because, like, I'm videotaping myself, but, like, you're in it too. You're holding your phone here, but you're actually, like, in this curated environment where none of it's real. Okay, hold on. Let me grab my notes. My notes are not about what I was talking about, but I'll find a way to connect it, I promise. So, oh, I know what I'll start with. I'll offer some shout outs. So in the first episode, I was talking about how awesome Temple Grandin, Oliver Sacks, and Noam Chomsky are. And I want to let you guys know where I get my news from. Because I talk a lot of shit about the media, and I absorb information from media. So I'm going to start with my favorite person on any of the platforms, and someone who I want to say the only person that really tells the truth all the time. It's incredibly hard to find these days. Adam Conover. Adam Conover is fantastic. I think it's just one N. Adam, A-D-A-M, last name C-O-N-O-V-E-R. Some of you may know him from Adam Ruins Everything. The thing about the show Adam Ruins Everything that gets me is that it's basically just facts. And I'm trying to remember, I think he said that there's like a website, I haven't actually checked it. It's like usafacts.org. It might not be that. You can check out Adam Conover and he'll tell you. Yeah, it's like, should someone really have to say, oh, I took some facts and this is based on those facts? What is everyone else using if they're not using facts? And I wish I could make fun of you, Adam, but they're not using facts. You're right. Oh, man. And, like, I think that it started at... Okay, let me see if I get this right. I want to say it might have started as Funny or Die, and then it was True TV, and now it's mostly on YouTube. I don't know for sure if that's right. And I should probably stop trying. Like I keep giving these like histories of things and all that. I'm probably like getting a lot of things wrong. I think I'm getting the concepts right, but feel free to comment if I made a mistake, and I won't read it. I don't read comments. So yeah, you guys can talk to each other though, all you want. Have fun. Uh, yeah. So Adam Conover, awesome. It's also where I got. Oh, I got a couple things. That Naomi Klein thing was from his podcast, and then a couple other things were probably I got from him. But just briefly, what I want to say about it is that, and this is sort of similar with Michael Moore, where, and Michael Moore talks about it in the documentary The Corporation, also a great documentary. It's from 2004, and you can just assume. So they did a new one a couple years ago called The New Corporation. But, I mean, it's kind of horrifying because 20 years ago, it was like gloom and doom. And it's like so much worse now. So you just don't know about it because you're staring at your fucking phone all day. Anyway, so I'm going to move on. I don't think I finished all those thoughts. We're going to say it was close enough. Okay, I'm going to give like a mixed shout out to Keith Olbermann. I've kind of written him off though because he's like super pro Joe Biden. So no, he doesn't get any more mention because of fucking Joe Biden. Amy Goodman, Democracy Now! Just amazing. And what I want to say about Amy Goodman is I don't know how she does that on a daily basis. She takes the actual things going on in the world, the most horrifying things you could imagine. You can only imagine them because none of you actually watch the news. Okay, I said everyone watches the news, which is to say, what I should have said is that all of you observe media, whether you call it news or not. The actual news is not happening anywhere around here. I mean, except for Democracy Now! As far as like US-based, US news shows, please tell me if there's anything besides Democracy Now! Because that's the only one I can watch at this point because everyone else is lying. So, I mean, I feel like that pretty much says it. Yeah, that covers all of Democracy Now! They're telling actual things happening. Amy Goodman's amazing because she somehow does it. And she brings on guests who were actually experts in their field. Like, all the other media companies are like putting on like celebrities with opinions and like fake journalists, politicians. Why do they put politicians on television? And if they're going to, it should be called fiction or theater. It should not be called whatever they call it. Hold on. They call it news. They put politicians on TV and have them like sell the product, which is corporatism and hawkishness and bullshit. And we call that news. Hilarious. Okay, oh, I want to do a thing on the US presidency, like do a whole history of it. And do like what I was saying, we'll do a whole like colonial history thing and like and then I'm gonna do something on the US Constitution, something on the Communist Manifesto, something on George Orwell's 1984. Because basically like I want to take things that people already know or should know that probably okay, a lot of the stuff you don't know. Because I don't really know a lot of this stuff either because I went to school and we know what schooling does to you. Terrible things. Okay, ooh, God, I really want to talk about the Gilded Age. I want to talk about Luddites. I have all my world country trivia. Actually, you know what? I could start that. Oh no! I know what I'm talking about. So I already covered. You can't own people. Sorry, corporations. That's not real slave masters. police officers, also known as overseers. Um, yeah. Right. Okay. Oh, I was thinking about bilingualism. And so, like, okay, so people in the United States are hilarious. Like, people who are born in the US who only know English. And, like, I'm not gonna judge anybody for only knowing one language. Like, because I mean, like, okay, language is entirely based on your environment, right, Gnome? Like, the brain is wired for language, and we pick up whatever language we're around, and that's more or less how language works. Just covered the whole thing. Like, you don't even need to study linguistics now. But what I've started I've started to use I've started talking about monolingualism. I feel like it's more important that we talk about monolingualism because it's so limiting, right? Like, and so you have things like in parts of Africa and Europe, Asia, oh man, because even Canada, they've got French and, oh man, it's really just Americans and the British. Do the British know other languages? I don't know. Americans, absolutely not. Which is why it's so funny when they treat people from other countries like they're dumb for not knowing English. But it's like, oh, but they know 6 other languages. And you only know one. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Because it's like, whenever someone says anything, literally, whenever anyone says anything, you can actually look up the answer. Don't ask Siri or Alexa or whatever the names of the other ones are. Because they'll just lie to you. Okay, anyway, like, actually look it up. And I know that it's harder and harder to do. I'll put resources up. I'll talk about them in the videos. Maybe I'll put them in the descriptions. This actually has me thinking about, like, sort of, I mean, I have like dozens of blog entries I've written in the past. And I could migrate those over to an open source platform because I can't stand Medium and Substack anymore because, like, anything that's like, here, put in your email address, here, give us money. Like, I don't do that. I don't do that. So, I won't recommend those. I will recommend open source, ad free. Oh, I have this whole thing about I have a whole thing about everything. So I'll leave that part alone for now. I said the thing about monolingualism versus bilingualism, and so, hey, monolinguist Americans, unless you know at least 2 languages, you don't get to give anybody shit about not knowing English. Also, okay, this is my favorite part though. A lot of you don't really know English. I know you speak words that are English words, but I feel like to say you know a language means that you, like, have a, like, vocabulary of more than a couple thousand words, right? So really, do you know any languages, really? Because, like, most of them got you beat, at least 2-0. Anyway, oh, I had this other great thing. Okay, so you know how, like, there are people who say that English should be the official language of the country, and then, like, oh, it doesn't really work like that. I was just gonna say, I mean, because we're not there yet, there are a lot of Spanish speakers in Texas. There are especially a lot of Spanish speakers. Oh my God. Yeah, you guys just don't think about things from multiple perspectives, do you? Like, because what I'm thinking about as is like there are a lot of Spanish speakers in Texas, and certainly there are regions where, um, a high percentage of what am I trying to say? Okay, what else? Oh yeah, there are a lot of Spanish speakers in Texas, and so right, and so the argument that I've heard people make for why English should be the official language is because it's what most people speak. But like, I don't know. I think there are more Spanish speakers than English speakers at the Texas border. Also, and I have to look at this, I know that this is historically true. Either all or most of the counties that actually border Texas are pro immigration. Like the majority are. Pretty sure. You can quote me on that so that if I'm wrong, someone will point it out. Quote me everywhere about it. And we'll find out who's right. Because if the people at the border don't give a shit, okay, they care. They care a lot. They all care a lot. Whether you're regardless of what side you're on, we all care about immigration. And I want to do something on immigration too because it's one of the examples of where it's like we have short memories because even as late as George W. Bush, there was like a president who actually at least tried to use positive rhetoric when referring to immigrants, which is just code. I don't know if you guys know this. When they say immigrant, it's code for brown people. They don't really care about immigration as a whole. Remember Trump with the shithole countries thing? You notice how they don't give a shit about Canadians coming in? You know how Trump was saying, like, the shithole countries from Africa, like, why don't countries from Scandinavia come here? And it's like, oh, because they have a significantly higher standard of living than we do. That's why they don't want to fucking come here. Think about it. Because they can, a lot of them could, and they don't. What does that tell you? I mean, they do, obviously. People from all over the world come to the United States, but I'd rather be in Scandinavia, personally. I'll bet a lot of you would rather be in Scandinavia, huh? Whew! So, I covered... Did I ever finish that? Oh, sorry. What I was going to get to is like... Oh, so I used to teach in South San Antonio. And I want to say that the school I taught at was literally 99% English as a second language. But the curriculum was in English. You know where else they do that? All over the place. They teach children in their non-native language, and then they do poorly because it's their second language, and a lot of them are first or second generation, and they don't hear English spoken at home, and I know this from experience. Also, there are not enough bilingual teachers who are bilingual in Spanish, so parents can't really communicate with the school because frequently the entire administrative staff, or not the whole thing. Like usually, you'll have at least a couple of Spanish speakers, ideally. But like, I mean, I remember whenever like I needed to call a parent, I had to like look around to search down someone that, because it was like, because not only is it important. I mean, we should have had native Spanish speakers. We should have native Spanish speakers teach native Spanish speakers because that's their native language. You just don't think about it, right? Like, it's not that. It's like all else equal. If we were starting from scratch, if we were putting together a society, obviously we would have people learn in their native languages instead of having all of them follow the most bastardized language in the world, American English. And I don't want to say that that's a bad thing. It's actually one of the reasons I love English is that it's all over the fucking place, just like me. So you can do such creative things with English. Also, I don't know any other languages. Not at all. I mean, like, I've taken Spanish, French, Latin. Those are the three that I've taken in school. Oh, which of course is why I didn't learn them. School. Okay. I had like one more. I say one more thing because I'm trying to. Okay, I'm gonna say this too. The idea of me doing more than one of these a day, I don't think that's gonna happen. In fact, like I can't do them every day. Like this takes up too much of my energy. Like what I realized is that I don't like making videos. I don't like sitting in a chair for this long. Normally I like wearing my earmuffs. I didn't wear them today because I was gonna wear the hood, but then my head got hot, and it's actually a little cool now, so I'm gonna put it back on. But honestly, like this is exhausting for me. It really is. Like, and what I've started doing is because I tried to do a video yesterday, and I like scripted the whole thing. I had like an outline and everything, and I started doing it, and I'm like sitting here, and it's like, this is not me. It's not gonna work. Like, I can't produce the energy I need to speak for this long when I'm not feeling it. And so I realized that there has to be like there's a lot of inertia here. And I guess basically it takes it takes like a sense of urgency. It takes me like reading something or seeing something where I'm like, ugh. Okay, so for example, 2 days ago when I posted that first video, it was oh, what did I just oh, I that was when I first learned about Rafa. And I don't like I don't know what's going on there now. And like I feel bad for not like following it better. But it's like really rough. It's like really hard. And it's like really frustrating. Like when you have a country that has killed so many people, and not just in the last few months, like for years and decades. And like we call the side that for the most part makes the most desperate, hopeless attempts to defend themselves. And then they get called the terrorists, right? Whereas the whole, oh my God. Okay, I have some very controversial things I could say about that conflict. It's not the time. It's not the time. It will come in time. I promise my children. It will come. That shit is a lot. And there's like a lot of stuff that I want to be very careful with what I say because, you know, you can't call the Israeli Defense Forces a terrorist group. You can't call Hamas freedom fighters. You can't say Zionism is anti-Semitic. You can't acknowledge that that guy Herzl in the late 1900s who wrote that book about the Jewish state or whatever he called it. That guy wasn't even religiously Jewish. And the reason why I say that... Okay, so I don't honestly know. I don't want to... Okay, to call it a British settler colony is not entirely accurate. Because even though the Balfour Declaration in, I believe, 1917, even though that was by a British person or a British institution or whatever, obviously not everybody who went there was British. Obviously the government has become dominated by white Europeans. Yeah, there's a lot of discrimination against Arab Jews and Orthodox Jews. So is it really about Judaism instead of about white supremacy? Just think about that one for a little bit. So I'm just going to do a few more minutes. There's a lot of good stuff in here. I'll save it for next time. I did have one more thing I wanted to say about... Oh, okay. So this doesn't fit in exactly with what I was saying, but I want to point out an example of... Oh, right. That's a whole thing too. The co-opting of people, events, like whatever. Like the way that those in power use like symbols of liberation. You know, like Walmart selling Walmart sells like, they sell Banksies. They sell copies of Banksies. That's not everywhere. I saw one on Walmart.com and I was like, that's pretty funny. Oh my god, is his shit it's not copyrighted, right? Because he just like, a lot of his stuff, or her stuff. Do we know who Banksy is now? Their stuff. Okay, what I wanted to say real quick was a little note about social Darwinism. Survival of the fittest was not Charles Darwin. That was a man named Herbert Spencer. Who was one of these people who cared about individual freedom and liberty and all that stuff, which really means unrestricted capitalism. If anybody's saying that they really care about liberty and individual freedom, they usually put it together too. It's like, I care about individual liberty and freedom, but like, oh God, don't say that. You can't say that. And don't go there, you can't go there, and you have to speak this language, and you have to be in this school, and we're gonna, basically make Christianity the de facto state religion. That kind of individual freedom and liberty. Get it? Yeah, I think maybe I should do something on Orwell and co-opted language, as well as the way that, co-opted historical figures, co-opted events, co-opted wars, like they find ways to twist it, even if it's the most absurd stuff ever. Like some of the shit they say about MLK and Gandhi, it's like, really? But then the problem is that's all we get, right? In the United States, like that's what they feed us. They feed us all this junk, and then we wonder why we're sick, right? I mean, honestly, they literally give you health information that is based on corporate interests and corporate funding. Like dairy? Dairy's fucking awful for you. And if you're drinking it in the US, it's chock full of antibiotics. It's the reason why, it's not the only reason, it's also because doctors just overprescribe antibiotics. So it's a combination of that, as well as the fact that the antibiotics that they give to the cows, which is either that on its own, actually... No, I don't think it's that on its own. It's because there's like the growth hormone stuff they use. And then like the growth hormone like fucks up the cows. And so they have to give them antibiotics because like the udders get infected and there's like fucking pus in the milk. and they do what they call like a somatic count to see how much pus is in it to make sure they don't have to put too much pus, because in the United States, the FDA or USDA or whoever, is trying to kill us, just another institution trying to kill us. Yeah, it's not is there pus in it or not. It's how much pus, because, it's just for Americans. Americans can handle it. Like, there's so much stuff that's banned in other countries that Americans eat here. Like, not just every day. Like, a lot of them, like, every meal. Like, all the fucked up meat and everything. Yeah. Okay, so, I feel like that's enough for now. It's probably enough for today. Probably enough for the week. Like, I don't know. Oh, I was gonna do, like, I had an idea for, like, an opening and a closing, but I forgot what it was. Oh, no, no, no. Okay, I'm gonna get it wrong. Oh, my head's hot. Okay, I'm gonna do I'll do that next time. I have a sign off though, and it's something like, all right, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you like. I don't give a fuck. I'm not paying attention to that. I don't even know how to look at metrics. I guess I know how to look at thumbs up. That's a like, right? And then subscribe means you, like, get those notices. And, like, I'm actually going to be posting a lot. So if you subscribe, like, you'll get, like, a great... I mean, these are great, right? This is great. This is wonderful. It's amazing. You're not going to get this anywhere else. You really aren't. You really aren't. And we'll see how long I get to do this. So this is really what started it, is that I realized that November whatever day the election is, that one election, that's coming up. I'm not convinced that we'll have any free speech at all after that. And so this is like, like when, when we're people who are talking and telling the truth, when we're all put in prison, the political prisons, the American gulags or whatever. Hey, Alex Jones, remember when you cared about that before you were a fucking fascist? Remember, Alex? When you weren't a fucking fascist? Remember that? I could say that a lot of other people too, who used to care about individual freedom and liberty, and now you're fucking fascists. It was a lie the whole time. It was white supremacy and capitalism. The whole time. Chauvinism, white supremacy. Because, you know what? Here's the thing about it. In a society where white men own most of the shit, yeah, they want to keep things the same. Okay, we're gonna own everything, and now you all have liberty. We have everything over here. You guys are free to go do whatever you're doing over there. We're gonna keep holding on to everything, and we're not gonna let you have any. Right? Like that's literally that's what they're doing. Right? How else would you describe that? One thing I've thought about is that we overcomplicate wealth inequality. Just imagine, imagine like a classroom. Imagine like a classroom and it's snack time. And I don't know. Let's say there are 100 million people in class, in this little classroom of small children. And let's say it's snack time. And let's say, oh, it's snack time. We have 1 million snacks, guys. It's snack time. Here are your snacks. And then the first person in line takes all the fucking snacks, all 1 million units of snacks, and says, ha, I was here first, so I get to lay claim to it. Right? Just this, like the same way that, like, fucking Columbus and those jokers, like, came in. I mean, and they weren't even the first, right? Also, were the billionaires the first for anything? Why are we supposed to be impressed with them? Why do people act like they're somehow better? They own the media. Oh, God, I always forget. All right, I was supposed to do a sign off. Oh, and then like I talked myself into telling you to subscribe in the process. I don't actually know what liking does. I guess more reach, more people see it. If that's something you'd like to do, if you understand what liking even does and that's a good thing, go for it. Feel free to thumbs down, actually as many as you want. Oh, maybe that would actually be a good thing. Because I feel like if I'm getting too many thumbs up, it means I'm doing something wrong. Genuinely. I really... Because there's a lot of resistance there. Whew. I actually did not talk about public relations in the way that I wanted to. And I really just introduced the other topics that I said I was going to talk about. But at least I brought them up. I had a piece of paper. I mean, honestly, that's what I decided to do. Is I think it won't always be 3, although 3 like works really well. I'm just going to write words on paper and hold them up, which I feel like will keep me on track. And even if it doesn't, at least I'm holding up pieces of paper with words on them that match the words in the video. So regardless of what I say, I mean, because also people just want to watch this face talk silently. If you don't like what I'm saying, you just want to see this face, totally fine. Or if you want to play Taylor Swift over it, or Donald Trump. I promise I will talk about Trump at some point. Don't you love that though? I didn't talk about Trump until like over 2 hours of video, right? I don't know if that's true. I do make it a point to avoid talking about him though, because who the fuck cares? It's not news. Biden, you're not news. None of that's news. Newsflash, Biden's old. Newsflash, Biden is deteriorating and can't make it through a sentence. Like, it is so cringy to watch Joe Biden speak. And then to see people like on MSNBC and I don't know, MSNBC and, also on MSNBC. The man is like fucking about to like, he's like holding on to the podium about to fall off, right? Hasn't he fallen off a couple times actually? And the Democrats are like I swear to God, the Democrats gaslight more than the Republicans now. Like, also, guys, the Democrats aren't really trying to investigate this shit. Like, what was it? Garland didn't even do jack shit about Trump for 2 years. You know what? They probably had a deal beforehand. Like, I will tell you, all this shit with Israel and the United States right now has got me thinking like, I'm like totally back in that Alex Jones mode where I was like, where I saw these conspiracies everywhere. And honestly, like, I'm kind of like getting back into that camp, honestly, because, I mean, for one thing, like, what are the conspiracy theories these days anyway? Like, they're so awful. Like, be more creative at least. Like, yeah. Also, I'm against deplatforming, right? Like, do you know all that does? Like, when we take people off that say really terrible things, they go underground, they get on their Telegram channels. Like, for example, like, there was never mind. I'm not gonna go all into specific examples because I could do that for a while. But just in general, when you push people off the mainstream platforms, there's no dialogue anymore, right? So instead, they come off this medium, they go over to Telegram or Parler, or I don't know what the other ones are anymore. Well, I've never known what the other ones were. I know those are 2 of them though. And oh god, and I guess like 8chan or Q, can't whatever they call it, the whole Q thing. Man. Okay, all I'm gonna say is like, when you knock people off these platforms, you push them out of the dialogue, you you harden and perpetuate these echo chambers, right? Because then this becomes a center right echo chamber, and then their echo chamber just goes far to the right until it falls off, boop, into just a basket of little Eichmanns there. Ward Churchill, I think, coined that. The little Eichmanns. They just, boo. Yeah. Which actually, I want to talk about. Okay, I know I'm supposed to be done now, but I want to say this. Maybe this will be the last thing I say, hopefully. First off, please exercise your free speech right now. I mean, it's not even free. Exercise your speech and get your fucking YouTube videos taken down, probably, or your videos wherever taken down, because. Well, let me tell you why. Because both the right and the left say they support free speech, and they don't support free speech. Do you know what hate speech is? It's speech. You know what the Communist Manifesto is? It's speech. You know what every fucking book you're banning is? It's speech. You know what's not speech? Corporations taking massive amounts of resources and then bribing politicians. It's actually not speech, it turns out. So anyway, I mean, the Supreme Court. Pack the court, Biden, or I will continue to assume you're in on this. You know why Biden wanted to be bipartisan? Come on, guys. What does bipartisanship mean? It means Biden's on their side, right? Like, it wasn't Joe Manchin that prevented all that legislation from passing. It was Biden, right? He had an opportunity to pass that shit immediately. And he might have had a chance. He might have had a little bit of a mandate. And then, I'm going to be talking to Republicans, and we're gonna try to work something out, man. It's like, how much more can you gaslight us, Joe? Okay, on that note, catch you later. Bye.